Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, world. Today I'm going to talk about a very important and timely topic that will benefit not only you, but also those you live and work with. We're going to talk about emotional intelligence and how to use it to thrive in this pandemic. I'm Coach Adrian, and let's start the ball rolling with the question: how do you feel right now? I would like for you to type your answer in the comment section. We'll give it a few seconds. Are you feeling isolated? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling excited with your Shopee or Lazada delivery? Are you ecstatic about what's happening with your career or with your love life or anything like that? So please type your emotions in the comment section. Now, this is the world we live in right now. Here's the craze and chaos of our world today. As we all know, coronavirus is still affecting the world, and only some countries have opened up their societies. The war in Ukraine is still ongoing, killing so many lives and displacing so many families. And you also know the chaos that's happening in the Philippines with the upcoming presidential elections. And recently in the news, the oil price hike. And through it all, in the midst of it, you can insert your problems here. So many things going on and so many things happening. Sometimes you don't know what to feel or what you're supposed to feel. There's actually a thing called comparative suffering. And this happens when individuals try to make sense of their own pain by comparing it to other people's pain. Now, there are pros and cons to this, but let's hear what Brene Brown has to say. She says, comparative suffering has taught me not to discount the importance of having a process to navigate everyday hurts and disappointments. They can shape who we are and how we feel just as much as those things that we consider the big events do. So we cannot discount the fact that we're still feeling some things despite all the things that I mentioned earlier. Amid all these catastrophes, we are all suffering in one way or another. The question is, will you break or will you break through? Will you be better or will you be bitter because of the things that are happening right now? The key to breaking through and thriving in this pandemic is emotional intelligence. Now, the thing with emotional intelligence is that there's a research that shows our IQ is actually already constant all throughout life, while emotional intelligence, or EQ, keeps on growing. That means it doesn't remain stagnant because you continue to change, you continue to evolve as a person. So that means there's hope even for those who consider themselves as deprived of this. This is a definition of emotional intelligence. It is a set of skills that help us better perceive, understand, and manage emotions in ourselves and in others. In layman's term, I would define this as the way I understand and manage my emotions and the way I understand and manage the emotions of those I live and work with every day. These are the benefits of emotional intelligence. There's going to be decreased in occupational stress. Your decision making will improve. There will be reduced staff turnover, meaning less people would resign because the managers and the team members both have emotional intelligence. You will have better personal and professional relationships. You will increase your team's performance because people like working with each other and people enjoy working with each other despite the differences. You will have increased leadership ability because you know the temperaments, the strengths and weaknesses of yourself and the people you live and work with. What do you think is the main function of our brain? I would like to see your answers in the comment section. Comment, what do you think is the main function of our brain? Thank you for those who commented. Now, the main function of our brain is to keep us alive, more than just to think, more than just to help us succeed, more than just to problem solve. Really, it all evolves and boils down to keeping us alive. That is why it is natural for us to think negatively, because we're considering the threats around us so that we know how to avoid or survive them. You can also observe this when you're arguing with your loved one, for example. We have the tendency to generalize. We say things like, you always, something like that. So, because our brain is hardwired for the negative, it has a negative bias. It always thinks of the negative things happening inside and around us so that we would know how to get through those hurdles. This is the science of emotion. At the center of our brain is the amygdala. That's the seat of emotions. Unknown to many, there are actually two parts of our brain, the emotional brain and the thinking brain. And as you can see in this diagram, the emotional brain is first stimulated before it goes through the thinking brain. It thinks, is this useful or is this rewarding? Is it not useful or is it a threat? Before it actually goes to the thinking brain. And then the thinking brain processes and affects the decisions and the behavior, and it also affects our performance. So notice many people resign most likely because of their immediate supervisor, and that's because the emotion overrides the decision making, the logic. And sometimes the commercials on TV, on the radio, online are all targeted towards our subconscious because it wants to appeal to the emotions, for us to have that sense of urgency. So the science of emotions tells us that emotions influence decisions, behavior, and performance. Now, Daniel Goleman, the father of emotional intelligence, says, if your emotional abilities aren't in hand, if you don't have self-awareness, if you're not able to manage your distressing emotions, if you can't have empathy and have effective relationships, then no matter how smart you are not going to get very far, because we will always be working with different kinds of people. And if people don't like us, they won't help us succeed. People won't promote us. People won't support us in our projects and our tasks. That's why it's very important to improve our emotional intelligence. Now, these are the 6 emotional intelligence skills that we can learn. Awareness, awareness of others, authenticity, emotional reasoning, self-management, and positive influence. The words on the left column are the emotions you would likely feel if you don't have these traits or if you're not exercising these skills. And these words right here are the most likely productive states that you will be in if you have these traits or if you are exercising them. So study that table for a while. For example, if you don't have self-awareness, then you will be disconnected. But if you are self-aware, you will be present with what's happening in you and around you. If you have awareness of others, or if you lack awareness of others, rather, you will be insensitive. You won't care about what other people think or feel with your words and your actions. But if you're aware of others, you will be empathetic. If you lack authenticity, in the words of Filipinos, you would say that a person is plastic. Here it says you're untrustworthy. And as we all know, trust is the foundation of all relationships. How can you have good people working and living with you if you are untrustworthy? If you have authenticity, you would be genuine. You would keep your promises. With emotional reasoning, if you don't have this, you will be limited. You will be narrow minded. You will always generalize. Whereas if you have emotional reasoning as a skill, you will be expansive. You will be giving people the benefit of doubt. You will think the different angles of a situation in order for you to come up with the right problem solving techniques. In terms of self management, if you don't have this skill, you will be temperamental. You will be moody. You will be hard to live and work with because you could be happy one moment and the next you would be angry or sad or something like that. But if you are able to manage yourself, you can be resilient. No matter what happens and what comes your way, you're able to bounce back to what you're supposed to be doing or thinking or the projects that you're supposed to be working on. You're still able to smile through the storm. For positive influence, if you don't have this skill, you will be indifferent. You um, will be passive. But if you have positive influence, you will be empowering. You will be contagious. Your life will be a sun giving light to many around you. Now, here are the steps how we can actually thrive in this pandemic using emotional intelligence, using those 6 skills. In the level of self-awareness, we just need to be aware and accepting of the emotions that we're feeling right now. Of course, we can't always be happy, and we shouldn't be, because without the combination of all of these emotions, we cannot be whole persons. We cannot evolve into better beings if we are denying the existence of negative emotions in us. Now, I'm not saying that we wallow in self pity or stay lonely. We learn how to accept it and move on from there. Awareness of others, we need to learn how to empathize with others, put ourselves in other people's shoes, connecting with the feeling what the other person is feeling, and offering what we can do to help. Authenticity means showing up as you are while keeping your commitments. So, for example, today has been a really tough day for you, and you've made a commitment to, for example, have a date with your wife. Then, by all means, if you still have enough energy left, then go out. But if you cannot, tell her that can we, for example, move our date to tomorrow or something like that. Of course, a proper apology has to be followed by restitution, by making sure that you commit to what you have promised. In emotional reasoning, we need to learn how to be generous in giving people the benefit of doubt. So for example, if a person is unable to keep his promise to us, let's think maybe this person is also going through something, or maybe something valid or logical that happened along the way. That's why this person was unable to deliver what he has promised. So, considering all angles and giving a person a chance, this also, I guess, includes being gracious in forgiving, because one day we will also need to be forgiven ourselves. And self management. We need to learn how to build good habits and stay committed to them. So for me, since I've been working from home since the pandemic started, I've gained weight. I think 5 or 10 kilos. So what I've committed to this year is to do some physical activity every day. I make sure to vary them. One day I'd be jogging, another day I would be doing dumbbells. Uh, on the weekends, I would likely be biking. And these good habits I even calendar them, by the way, to make sure that I'm reminded because I put notifications in my calendar. These good habits would actually help us become productive in the pandemic. And sometimes having routines to do and staying committed to our habits actually keep us away from the loop of anxiety that we would be feeling if we're not doing anything, because sometimes when you're bored, your mind sometimes thinks of stuff that are not going to help you move towards the direction of your dreams. And then lastly, positive influence. Kindness and excellence inspires. This is contagious. When you see one person doing good to someone, the least that it can do is to make you feel that warm, fuzzy feeling inside. And the better effect of this is that you will also be inspired to do the same thing. And when you see excellent work, you might be inspired as well to do the same thing, to deliver your best because you autograph your work with excellence. So, and especially this part, kindness and excellence, is what the world needs right now. The world is hurting. So many people are hurting. And if we can only be kind and excellent with the way we work and live, of course, considering that we will always make mistakes and fail along the way, for as long as we're continually failing forward, I'm sure that eventually we will get to the part of positive influence. So, do you guys have any questions? Drop them in the comment section or message our Facebook page, and we will answer it as soon as possible. If you guys want to connect with me in any of my social media accounts, here's the link to them. And the, I hope to see you guys soon. And until next time, please stay healthy and happy, everyone.